Hey, I'm Kelly Bailey. I'm part of the Furnished Finder marketing team, and I'm Furnished Finder's podcast host of our show called The Landlord Diaries. I also am a monthly midterm rental operator myself with 8 midterm rentals in and around the Austin, Texas area. I've been a host on Furnished Finder for over 5 years now and have plenty of 5-star reviews. So, what's the purpose of this video? Well, today I'm bringing you educational content as part of a series called the Furnished Finder Listing Review. We want you to be able to shine as a landlord and to build properties that really catch attention from potential travelers and help with your booking potential. So the 5 main areas that we're going to review in this series from your Furnished Finder listing are your photos, your headline, your availability date and your calendar, your pricing and property fees, and your landlord profile. All of these really help you stand out and build trust with potential tenants. Some of these videos may be a deep dive on a specific subject. Others may cover a variety of these topics. So if you find this video helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with a friend, or comment. I'd love to get back to you with feedback on your listing. Today, we're going to specifically cover a deep dive on photos. So let's jump in. Today, we're traveling to the Gulf Coast of Florida to review Amy's 2-bedroom, 2-bath listing in Bonita Springs. Let's zoom in and find Amy's listing. It's this lovely 2-bedroom, 2-bath for $3,000. Let's scroll down and find it in search results as well. There it is. All right. One of the first things we want to observe is how Amy's listing is a little zoomed in and a little darker than her competitors around her. So that would be my first advice, Amy, is to zoom out and get a more broad idea of what the space has to offer, how it transitions to other rooms, etc. So now that we've located Amy's property, let's take a look. The first thing tenants always want to see are the photos. Photos, price, overall location, those are going to be some of the most important pieces of your listing. So let's start with the photos. I'll start by scrolling through so you can get a feel for Amy's property. Couple things stand out to me as I scroll through the images. The images are a little dark. You'll notice in this one that the lighting is not on, and it just gives, rather than the place being bright and airy, you get a little bit of a darker feel. So I would brighten up these photos. Professional photos always help with that. And girl, I know why you haven't gotten professional photos. It's because you have 6 5-star reviews in the first year. Nice job. Seems like you haven't had time for them yet, but when you get time, please make sure and add those professional photos. We've got the kitchen here. One thing I noticed is the kitchen, this is the only picture of the kitchen. So as you scroll through and you get a feel for the place, you know, a couple things stand out. So let's go back to the beginning and we're going to kind of break them down. First off, as stated, I'd like to understand the flow of everything. So a couple pictures that show the entire living space with the dining room and the living room and the kitchen. That would be nice to kind of just understand the flow. I also noticed for your third picture, first 2 pictures, great start. There is a picture of this console, which is a great photo, and I love that it kind of shows the transition to the bedroom, but I don't think I'd put it as photo number 3. So towards the end, I'll give you a recommendation of how I reorder your existing photos and what photos I would add. What you really want to think of is what matters most to midterm rental guests. And what matters most is going to be, the layout of the property, the size of the TV. Is the living space nice? Is the bed comfy? Can you have a nice work from home space? So that's what you want to capture in your images. And I don't believe I see an image of the TV at all. So no one knows if you have a 12-inch TV or an 80-inch TV. So that would be great to go ahead and add as well. We have gotten to some of my favorite photos. This photo of the lanai is stunning. And if that's the view from your lanai, it opens up a whole new opportunity of images we could capture here. If that really is the view from the lanai, let's make sure we are capturing that well from the patio also. So while portrait images do show it well, kind of loses the idea of how large this lanai is. This landscape photo gives an idea of the space, but doesn't really capture the view from here. So that would just be something I'd keep in mind is, can you take one photo that captures this whole area just by stepping back a few steps? And especially with professional photos, they'd likely be able to capture this much better with the wide angle, and it would just be a really nice presentation of your space. Now I'd like to jump back to the bedroom images. Let's see. When I look at bedroom images, I think, oh, that's a nice looking comforter or a nice looking space. But what size is that bed? Is that a full bed? Is that a queen bed? I can't really tell. So adding captions for the size of the bed is really helpful right here on the photos. I know it's reinforced in the listing and the marketing, but as tenants oftentimes decide if they want to read the description based off the photos, I'd like for it to be right here front and center so it's easy for them to see what the size of the bed is, that it's a comfortable bed. If it's a name brand mattress, you can put that on there, just something that gives them confidence that they'll have a good night's sleep. Now let's continue with the restrooms. When I look at the restrooms, I think, okay, it's got a built-in glass door. What's behind that glass door? And what does the flooring look like? So just that same idea of scoot back a bit, get a full picture. If it presents well, take a picture of the inside of the shower as well to just kind of show what's behind that hidden door. You did accomplish that with this image. You're showing the curtain and a bit of the shower at the same time. If there's any extra lighting for that space to make it just kind of appear a bit more bright and airy, then I would go ahead and add that if possible. Same idea, what does the flooring look like? What's the cabinetry look like? So if you can't capture all in one picture, then just maybe capture 2 images here. Never hurts to have additional photos. In regards to the kitchen, I would recommend taking 2 or 3 more images. You've got the one existing image, but I don't know if there's a dishwasher. I don't know the size of the sink. I don't know the size of the fridge. So I would capture an image that is straight on to show all the cabinetry in this space in the kitchen. We also have heard quite a few travelers say, at the end of the listing, it's actually pretty nice to see some images of the interior of the cabinets to show what is the cookware that you're using and how is the kitchen stocked. So definitely not a requirement, but something that we have heard multiple tenants that travel a lot through Furnished Finder say is something they really value and might prioritize a listing over others if they can see some of that kitchen they're going to be using. That actually leads to my final recommendation for your existing images is the idea of what order should you have your photos and what are maybe some photos that you could add. So I would start with one of the couch, one of the kitchen, one of the primary bedroom, maybe even one of the secondary bedroom, and then one of that beautiful patio with lanai, and especially the view from the lanai. In regards to the photos I recommend you add, think of if you're a traveler coming in from hundreds or thousands of miles away, what you would like to know before committing to a property sight unseen, especially when you're putting a deposit down. Here's what I'd like to know. What does the front of the unit look like? Is the entryway safe and open? What are the other amenities at this beautiful complex? I would capture more of the complex if you can. It looks like a very nice space. And lastly, Bonita Springs is a beach town. Why don't you add a picture of your favorite beach that you like to go to? Are there any, I saw that you're pet friendly. Are there any dog parks close by that you should add a photo of? So think, what are the main attractions that someone should know about Bonita Springs that are within about 10 to 15 minutes of your property? And it never hurts to add those at the end. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our deep dive on Furnished Finder photos. If this was a helpful video, please like, subscribe, add your feedback in the comments. If you'd like your listing to be considered for review, feel free to tag it in the comments on YouTube. If you have your own recommendations on photos and how they've worked well for you, please put those in the comments. Well, thanks for joining us today, and I hope you'll catch us again on our new Furnished Finder Listing Review Series.